So the Trent Williams to the Vikings trade rumors and whatnot and speculation just continues to drag on. But like we said, if there will be a trade, it will be either near or during the draft. So finally, mercifully, we'll probably get some resolution this week. Probably. Yeah. And the Vikings are still in the thick of this thing. Yes, there are other teams interested in the 32-year-old, soon-to-be 32-year-old premier left tackle out of Oklahoma. Vikings' interest was alluded to by Doogie this week, as well as John Keim, who covers Washington. I mentioned that on his podcast. And I think Washington will move him, even if it is a meh deal. I think eventually they will just settle. I mean, they screwed up last year. They tried to play hardball. They tried to be like, well, it's our way or the highway sort of deal. And sometimes that just does not work, right? So he was just like, whatever. Yeah, and they probably could have gotten a 1 or at least some close facsimile, like a 2 and a 3 or 2 and 2 3s or whatever it is at the trade deadline last year, as teams were really gearing up. Some squads that were in potentially in a potential playoff push are like, oh, Trent Williams at the deadline. Okay, mortgage, here we go. But it doesn't seem like they're going to get a 1 this time around. But a brand new regime and Bruce Allen is out. Ron Rivera and company are in. Now, if Trent Williams is dead set on and still bitter and never going to play for Washington again, I think it's just better to move on. Just not have that hover over the fan base as they prepare for a new season, new era, etc. So, again, they get a 2 or a high 3. Do they probably just take that and go? I mean, probably at this point, where there are 3 things that matter for the Vikings and the Trent Williams trade at this point. So number 1, the draft; 2, trade compensation; 3, money. So 1, the draft. And if the Vikings are somehow #blessed enough to get in position for Andrew Thomas or Jedrick Wills or Tristan Wirfs, maybe they have a gas mask ball in video. I don't know. Or the Vikings straight up to go get him. And then I think the deal is off. Then I think you have your left tackle of the future. You are good to go, especially Thomas, who I think will be a day one setter. For me, Wills and Wirf, I think you probably should at least think about trying them on the left side at first. But yeah, that's a whole nother video. Or you could take it a step further. I think Josh Jones as well as Ezra Cleveland would be perfect day one left tackles for what the Vikings want to do in the scheme. So I would even extend it that far, right? If it's Becton, still make that trade. Or Austin Jackson, still make that trade. So number 2, the trade compensation. Not giving up a 1, even though the Vikings have multiple 1s. So not 22, not 25, maybe 58. Maybe. If the Vikings completely brick out on some of the top tier tackles and you're into day 2, maybe 58, but I mean, maybe Washington kicks back a 5th or something. I would feel comfortable, flipping either one of the 2 third-round picks, 89 or 105, but that really is it. I mean, the Vikings do have leverage here in that they don't necessarily need this trade to happen, especially if thing number 1 in the draft comes through, right? But, would it be nice to land a top 10 tackle who still has some tread on the tires? I mean, yes, absolutely. But also, are you going to give up a ton to land a soon-to-be 32-year-old player who hasn't played in a year and then pay him top-tier money? Yeah, as well as compensation. Like, say picks aren't real premium. Could Anthony Harris be involved? Could Riley Reif be involved? So those numbers as well as that factoring into the compensation. Lastly, 3 is money. So despite, like we said, being out of football for a year, Williams is still the 8th highest paid left tackle in the league at $13.6 million. Now, he does want a new deal, but how is that going to work? Do you just come in and plop him as a top 3 left tackle? That's tough. That is tough. Or do you go with a 3-year, $43, $44, $45 million deal, and then go from there? $50 million a year puts him in the top 5. Would he be happy with that? I'm sure he would be. I mean, who wouldn't be, right? But also, what about the cap? Well, you could do a small cap it in 2020, push the rest of it towards 2021, just like they did with Michael Pierce's contract. Or if Riley Reif is either part of the trade or you cut him loose, since you don't see him moving to guard potentially if Trent Williams is going to be a left tackle, do you cut him or trade him for whatever and then freeing up $8.8 million in cap? That certainly helps, as well as Anthony Harris. If he's part of the deal, that's $11.441 million in cap space on top of the Vikings' already existing $12 million, although they do have to factor in the rookies in there. So they could make it work. I mean, for me, money is probably the least important part of the deal since it is doable either way. But if you can get a top of the food chain left tackle who Kirky will obviously go to bat with and vouch for and can make it work money-wise, It still makes a lot of sense. It still makes a lot of sense, like we said, if they do miss out on the left tackle of the future in this class. But it goes back to trade compensation. I'm not giving up too much. And honestly, if the Jets or the Chargers or the Browns want to give up a 2, outside chance of a 1, but likely a 2, I mean, God bless them. Go ahead. I mean, sure, it's all good in the hood. Because Washington also doesn't have a 2 because of the Montez Sweat trade. But, I mean, would it be fun? Yeah, I mean, this is something that us Vikings fans have been talking about for like a year. Oh, Trent Williams blocked for Kirk Cousins. Let's bring him in, right? But it would also be a sign that the Vikings are all in, ready to make a run. Would give you a lot of clout. Would give you a little bit of confidence. Let's go. As well as, Trent Williams in that divisional round game last year, if Trent Williams was on the Vikings, I think he could have handled Nick Bosa. But frankly, if the Vikings do land their left tackle in the future, or if Washington wants too much in return, that's our leverage, walking away. So there you go. All right, your thoughts. Trent Williams trade. Is it actually going to happen? Yeah or no? Let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. If you want to support the work, pull us up on the Venmo. Please give us a follow on social media as well. But until next time, Skol, production value.